The coterie as a whole have taken quite a lot of beatings along the way. They've dished out more than their fair share, as far as some would say, with neonates of this age group. They've survived instances that would have most assuredly caused the death of many of their elders. But you know what they say about time. Not only does it not wait for anyone, once it's gone, it never returns again. And time is pressing as the night draws to an end of the carefully laid plans of the coterie, their individual assignations, their individual meetings, their individual moments of outright horror and terror, reaching from not just the physical flame of explosion, but the preternatural, supernatural emanations of beings that were never living. The fact that the nexus point which exists inside the haven, which the haven has been built upon, pulsates with a life of its own, growing brighter and more pressing for those that are able to see it. The fact that Ignacio has been returned to his family's fold. The fact that Don Wochseek Castiglione has seemingly taken full control of the Castiglione and Tory outfit. Are all factors that let everyone know that time is running out. And while the sun is still a few short hours away, we pick up with our coterie, Hestia and Lucio, in Hestia's library, dizzy, sitting upon the bed that has been claimed as her own. She has a place, a physical central location to operate from so long as she remains in the city. Alexander is standing in front of the Lavanderia on the west side of Chicago, and whispers is rising like some specter of the dead from a long hidden room inside the church of the Hyacinth, of St. Hyacinths. So we pick up with Clyde, USB in hand. Where are you going?
So I turn into the haven. I'm very concerned about the Masquerade Bridge, although I don't know exactly what does it entail for the group of vampires. So I'm gonna try to make my way as fast as I can.
Okay. Reaching the haven at this hour of the evening isn't a huge stretch of attention or focus. You can almost do it with your eyes closed. In fact, the shoemaker in your head is suggesting you do just that so that he doesn't have to keep looking at the fact that you always wear the wrong shoes. The nun is counseling, staying well within the speed limit, maybe 15, 20 miles below the speed limit, so as not to hurt anyone else. The monk in your head is chanting in a facsimile of Gregorian, Italian, Greek, and Catalan. Something about you're not sure what, but he is insistent upon getting your attention. And then, just underneath all of those voices fighting for supremacy, is a voice of the scientist who appeared several weeks, months, years, not sure. He just popped up one day and refused to give you any real peace. When everyone else is arguing, he is clearly scribbling, and the sound of that pen on the stiff card-like vellum that he writes, that he uses to take notes, is running nonstop in your head. Getting to the haven, all's quiet for the most part. There's no fights. There's no police. There are no sirens. The place looks, shame though you are to admit it, like home. With everything else pressing on your mind, that one thought in and of itself is far more troubling than any other. The idea that this place, of all places, could feel like home.
Probably start making a head count of all the people, all the people that live in the shelter, like kind of a little bit manically, like as Dave. He always answers with his left hand. That's Samantha. She has a flower dress that only wears on Sundays, kind of that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, making our way to the inner sanctum.
So making your way through the front doors of the shelter, in through past the several hundred guests, though less than they have been for the last few weeks, but that's because of everything that's been happening. You make your way into the office, say goodbye, to say hello, goodbye, and all of those many small comforts, and make your way into the haven itself. There are several places you can go. You can either go up to the meeting room, you can head down into the morgue, you can head up even further and find the space that you've carved out for yourself, or you can begin yelling and calling everyone to get their attention, because what you have is fairly pressing.
I'm guessing the two places that we spend most time in the morgue and in Hetja's laboratory. So I'm going down to the morgue.
There's no one in the morgue currently except for Aiden, and he's cleaning up several piles of McDonald's wrappers, making sure that they're squirreled away. Seems to be his primary food of choice, partially because it's open at all hours of the day. You're one of the few, the McDonald's down on Ashland is one of the few that are actually open 24 hours, and the only one in the area that actually is.
Sure, the census needs line of sight, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I can't do that. Then walking a little bit faster, more tense, more manic. I'm just told to go by everybody's name slow at first, and then faster and faster. I'm guessing just under my breath. Sure. Whispers. Easy, and so on and so forth. I don't know if I can make it to the top floor. Do you want me to make a roll willpower check or something like that?
No. It's just the expenditure of time. Are you going to run to the top floor and begin making your way down, or are you going to try to make your way up? Which way would you like to go about obtaining everyone's attention?
I'm assuming I'm gonna start asking the people in the shelter. Have you seen Lucio or Hestia or DC? Whispers.
Well, remember, the haven itself is, while connected to the shelter, hidden from the shelter residents because it's through the shelter's office which leads up into the abandoned hospital, which is connected with the shelter. The shelter itself has been carved out of the first floor of the hospital, but it is not specifically part of the haven.
Aha, let me do my Malkavian thing, maybe. Can premonition help me?
No, it's literally an expenditure of time and effort just to get everyone that may be in residence attention. Premonition couldn't hurt for later, but as far as now, it literally is the expenditure of time and effort and how he wants to tackle trying to get everyone's attention.
I'm thinking about fire alarm. That will upset the people that lives here, so take my cell phone and scroll quickly. I think that it was Lucio that called me when I was with the Maserati lady, right?
It was.
So I'm gonna call Lucio.
And somewhere many hundreds of miles removed from this world, not only does Lucio, but Simone receive a call. Unfortunately, that phone won't be answered. But his phone, which you saved as part of the coterie, and all the numbers are listed under the same number as Clyde's accident with the two lovebirds denoted. So Hestia, Lucio, Alex, Simone, your phones start to chime.
I suppose I'll answer.
Where's everybody?
Well, Hestia and Hestia.
Go ahead.
Hestia and I are at the Haven. I'm honestly not sure where everyone else is. Where are you?
I've been looking you all over the place. I can't seem to find anybody.
Well, right now Hestia and I are in her library. Do you know where that is?
Yeah, my way. I click and then start half running towards there.
For men of your size, not needing to exert any deal with any lactic acid buildup, Clyde is surprisingly quick. Far quicker than most would expect. Taking the stairs 2 and 3 at a time, not bothering to pause to take a breath. He is suddenly barging through the library doors to find Hestia and Lucio looking over what looks to be leather-bound tomes of old.
I'm grabbing the drive. Hey, guys! Shut up, guys. I think we have a future problem in your hands.
Oh, what kind of problem?
The kind of problem that gets a bunch of people staked. There's a huge mass gathering which just waiting to happen in the next week or so.
Explain, please.
Well, apparently somebody decided to start recording a vampire frenzy in the middle of the street. And then there was a bunch of kind of vampires running around like crazy. And they have it like in 7 different angles, and they have the dramatic zoom and the bam of Michael Bay and everything. It's in there. Do you have a computer over here? I mean, even a TV with a USB?
I think Hestia might.
The whole time she's listening to this, she's just like face palming. And just the look on her face is like, of course. Of course. You said camera angles and chasing through the city.
Well, they have it from below, from above, behind. I mean, it was a nice walk.
Lovely. I go to get my laptop.
Quicker done than said in this particular case. Bringing your laptop back and setting it up. You pop in the video. Well, you pop in the USB, which just literally contains 45 seconds of the video as described by Clyde. It is, without a shadow of a doubt, you didn't realize how good that particular sweater looked from that angle. But it definitely is a very nice angle. And while you know that sweater intimately, and you know how much of a deal you got it for some 20 years ago, no one specifically can say that was you. And that shadow, indescribable movement ahead of you, without knowing that that's Lucio, someone would be hard pressed to prove that it is. The other instance of Edith Bobian attacking some you're not sure, it still would require knowing her. But realistically, how many tattooed Nosferatu are there in the city? The outside of the disco, if you didn't know that it was Dizzy from having stepped inside Drea's head, you really wouldn't know that that was her. So all of the clips show and hint, but they never out the people that are there. But if these snippets, these quick cuts were made, then there's certainly more where it came from.
Looking at Lucio. Now, pretty sure when we were at the hotel, I mentioned that I thought she was setting us up for a trap. This is proof that she was setting us up for setting you up.
I mean, somebody spent a couple of grand just to pay all these people and editing. You have to give it to them. It's well planned and well executed. And now there's a couple of newspapers and a couple of online outlets that have received copies of these. They are just running into their channels to try to verify it, and they will launch it. I'm guessing no more than 2 days, 2 nights from now.
So are you saying that someone is trying to play this off as like footage being found of like a new movie, or is this?
No. This is going in the 8 o'clock news.
Fuck.
I mean, believe it or not, that's the least of our problems, because 8 o'clock news we can try to manipulate, but if it hits the online outlets, then it's bye-bye. Nobody can stop that.
Where's Damien when you need him? Fuck, she set us up.
Who, the
Is there
Netflix lady?
Which Nosferatu lady?
Out of character, did you mention Nosferatu lady?
Yes, there was definitely someone who was afflicted with not being anywhere near able to seem alive, who happened to have tattoos.
We are not talking about the same person.
No, you're no, you're not. You are, but you're not.
Okay. I mean, the Nosferatu lady, I know her. She tried to eat me and stuff, but I think we are right now. But who played you?
She tried to what?
She tried to eat me. It was just a misunderstanding, and really nothing came of it. So we are cool now, I think.
Hestia, do you remember a Nos with us aside from Whispers?
Yeah, I remember coming, and he was snatched that night we were in the basement. Why?
I meant the night that we took down Laura. Because that seems to be what he's saying, that this Nosferatu was with us at that time. At least was in the footage.
Out of character, I don't know if I'm mixing two things in the same things.
No, you are, but it is apropos because that seems to be what the snippets are adding towards, that all of these things, all of these scenes and clips are the same or similar, meaning non-human things that people should watch out for. Blank bodies, if you will. And speaking of blank bodies and cleaning the slate and stacking the deck and all of those fun phrases used to denote a setup, Alexander, you are there in front of the lavanderia. It is a single-story building. Unlike most of the laundromats in the city, this one is not a wall of glass with huge machines, dryers and washers inside, with lines of people mindlessly flicking their screens and watching their lives tumble by. This one is a smaller, more brick. Stands out because it is the only building on this street that is 100% actual sidewalk side. All of the houses have, all of the buildings, the apartments, the courtyards, the gravestones are set back from the sidewalk. They have their front lawns and back lawns combined into one singular entity. They're all alley-facing buildings. They face the street, but they sit off of the alley. This building sits directly sidewalk side, unlike all of the others.
I'm gonna enter the building. Is there anything specifically that I'm looking for? Did the contact send me like an image of someone or something?
No. Part of the very secretive nature of the network is the fact that it is not something that's easily denoted. It's not something that stands out in most cases. You, with the training that you have, even as shortened as it was, and your attention to detail makes all of the small things that people would just overlook stand out in bas relief for you. The Lavanderia El Viejo de la Montana stands out. Not that your Spanish is, superlative, but that is more than a mouthful. It seems as such. The building itself is the complete opposite of such a very wordy and long name. Though, as far as the neighborhood is concerned, this building has always been here. The lavanderia has always been there. It is a place of refuge on the block. It is open 24 hours, but in that 24 hours, there is no crime that happened. Many people have run inside to escape various bad moments in their lives. It's just another in a long line of lavanderias that have been in the area, are spread throughout the city. So as you park, do you park street side or do you pull around into the parking lot and enter from the one door that actually leads in, the double doors off the parking lot?
I'm gonna go into the parking lot and go into the double doors.
There's a woman that looks like someone's grandmother's grandmother, but she's manning the service desk. The male voice that you spoke with on the phone doesn't seem to be anywhere apparent. The space, surprisingly, for its small size, is filled to the brim with machines. There are several places to sit and surf your phone, but for the most part, it's just machines and the old woman. The lights are bright enough that even without the blessings of heightened senses, it is far, far too bright in comparison to the night that's just outside the door. The old woman looks from beneath her furrowed, very heavy caterpillar-like brows and smiles gumlessly, well, toothlessly at you. Her smile is actually, in fact, all gums at this point. She looks very much like the Pixar animated version of Coco, but with far more vitality. Hello?
Hello, I'm here to pick up the
Morning. Name?
Alexander Hunt.
No. Don't worry, good name. The old woman, as you're trying to come up with the name, as you're trying to remember the name for the order that you were asking after, takes out a pen and begins scrawling, trying to get situated to make a notation of some sort. And she looks left and right. She looks past you, even though there's no one waiting. And it's clear that no one's been inside for some time. Name?
Alright, out of character, I don't think I know what the name for the order was. Do I?
You do.
What was it?
No worries. We all have our moments of memory slippage. She looks past you, looks out the window. Look, dude, why are you asking about that?
Because I need information.
No one needs information about that. That is a surefire way to make sure that everybody dies. No one wants that contract.
I do.
You're a fool, but okay. The contract is there is a bookstore in Printers Row that is not a bookstore. The staff there is not what they see. Mamako is to take not just the leader of the stepsons out, but the entirety of them. Mamako is a word of death. It will bring down hell upon your head. Mamako would summon an elder who sleeps, hopefully peacefully, for revenge. It is used to have foolish children of Hakim destroy themselves and hopefully learn a lesson along the way. But if you think that you are such a foolish child of Hakim and are willing to do the undoable, very well, we will accept your offer to take this particular contract. Of course, you do know the cost of failure.
I have more than intimate familiarity with the price of failure.
May the prophets watch over you, because they certainly have not guided you. Have as many lovely evenings as you are able to, Alexander.
With that, we'll go ahead and go to the... So, bookstore is a bookstore.
Yep.
The bookstore that she...
Alright, sounds like a plan. So you drive from the west side, back downtown towards Printers Row. It's going to take several attempts to find, because the building itself is designed to not really be there. It is literally a building that you can stand in front of it for hours and not directly see it. It's that sort of building, especially with the beings who exist inside. And while you're driving back downtown, it is hard to ignore the sound of running feet in a place where there's nothing actually alive. For all of the approximations of continued life that kindred abide by, the truth of the matter is that each and every last person was dying to become what they are. Each and every kindred did not enter into their state of being in the full blush of life. So, hearing the pitter-patter of less than small feet, less than large feet, but greater than small feet, of running up and down the hall with whispered, Nancy, whispers, Asya, and then getting louder and louder and louder, and then just disappearing, is something that would prohibit any real semblance of restfulness.
Well, she'll kind of sigh and roll her eyes and put her stuff away and go see what's going on.
Traipsing through the hospital alone. You've been in darker situations. You've been in worse situations. You have survived quite a bit in the small, short time of your unlife or undeath, as the case may be. What settles in now is this has been the longest period since your embrace where you were not in the company of Gaz or Zeke. Hell, even Austin, the newest member of the band, you literally had a chance to annoy and be annoyed by him for the last 5 years, every night of your unlife. And let's not forget Drea's irrepressible sense of enjoying the moment, of living every second to its fullest, to dance under the moon to the tune of the devil's fiddle, or whatever strange statement of enjoyment she would toss off. Making it downstairs toward the library, you find Hestia and Lucio and Clive poring over a clip that you, with your modern sensibilities, easily recognizes as Chicago Avenue, just before Lucio and Alexander were clipped by cars. Just before everything went to shit. Just before the darkness that exists inside every Kendrick came pouring out of Lucio and out of that woman, as if that's all that ever had been there. And the clips is playing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. There's you in front of the disco. You've been in front of enough mirrors to know what the back of your head looks like. And you even recognize Drea's green dreads in the distance. Most people wouldn't. You're just another party goer. But that's taken from the parking lot of the disco. And there are other scenes interspersed.
Before I ask what this is that we're watching, remember when I said, hey, I bet this is a trap?
Yes, I seem to be reminded of that by everyone here.
I mean, I'm not judging, I'm just saying.
Is Arsenio anywhere nearby?
Actually, no, he wasn't. He was waiting outside of the library, and then Hestia left, and so he is not far, but he's not in the room.
I'll be right back, and I head out to go find him, because I want to ask him something.
You can always call him back in, if that helps.
You know what? That's probably a better idea. Arsenio, want to ask you something. Get in here.
Sure thing. What's going on? You gonna take my advice? We're gonna go hit the hills? We're gonna get out of here?
What did Damien have you do with the bodies?
They're in the basement of his place. The office over there behind the apartment buildings. They're in the basement. 2 of them are in the cooler. The other one wouldn't fit, so it's stacked on top.
Okay, so for now they're secure. Alright, thanks. I don't think I need anything else right now.
Sure thing. Hey, Dizzy.
What's up, dude?
God, so... I'll admit, I fucked up. I don't regret it. I'm glad we got her. But we done fucked up. I done fucked up.
I mean, to be fair, man, we all fucked up. I mean, I knew it was a trap, but I followed your lead, so, I mean, it's not like they're gonna go, oh, Lucio fucked up and the rest of you can walk.
They might
That's
actually.
the only clip. we're forgetting that there are multiple clips. Not just that chase through the city. There is the one that was at Dalton. I don't understand how that happened. There's the one of the Oasis bar when Waneka went crazy and was throwing around the cops. There's that. There's that also the Nosferatu lady that seems to have wanted to eat Clyde. There was that one. So no, it wasn't just that one fuck up. There's a bunch of them. Wasn't always just involving us either. So I don't know what the heck to think. Maybe there's some sort of agent watching or something, and
Okay, I think I might understand what the Sabbat was trying to do. They're trying to... It's possible that all these events are good, and that they're trying to work with the Second Inquisition to get us to break the Masquerade and turn the Second Inquisition against us. Because that place that we went to tonight, that drop house, that was 100% like government-owned SI shit there. They were talking about blank bodies, and that's where I saw Laura. There's like no doubt in my mind that those two are therefore in cahoots. And also the fact that apparently literally the night after we get Laura and capture her, that place just goes up in smoke. Like, how the fuck did they figure that out so fast? So I think maybe they have been behind all of these recordings and possibly trying to use it to weaken our grip over the Masquerade in the city, and to possibly out certain members to weaken us.
Well, they got some shots of me and my gang in there that's got nothing to do, like, before I even knew you guys. So this is probably tied to Indiana somehow.
Exactly, and you were sent on a mission by Sabbat from Indiana, correct?
We were, yeah.
So that may have been one giant setup.
Clearly it was one giant setup because I have 5 dead friends.
Exactly. And they were taken by the Second Inquisition, no less, which further cements my point, what I was saying.
Which is these theist motherfuckers.
I mean, that's awful and all, but we need to try to contain the spreading of this video.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. So, alright, quick rundown of everything that, as far as I can tell, we need to do. There's still the issue with the lodestone, but honestly at this point that might be at the bottom of the priority list. We gotta deal with this Masquerade breach. We've got to gather some allies to deal with the Dawn and the Sabbat. And we have to also kill the Dawn. Right now, I think the Masquerade breach might be the top priority. Does anyone disagree?
Hey guys, what's going on?
I think you're right, but I think more of these things are connected than we want them to be.
When hearing whispers, I turn and look and point to the video and then explain the whole situation about video clips and needing to stop the spread of said video clips. Looks like a trap.
I don't think anybody got that.
That's the third person to say that. Who wants to be number 4? Anyone?
I mean, it's too late to. I mean, had we have assessed that information before the video was taken, that might have been a thing. But now,
Alright, here's what I'm gonna propose. We've got a lot of shit to deal with, and we're on a timetable. We need to basically assign teams here to deal with our problems. And so let's figure out first how we're going to deal with this masquerade breach.
well, I mean, wasn't that dude that was there was the sheriff, right? So don't you guys or the higher ups have people who are connected to take care of this sort of thing?
Yes, but there's an issue. Damien has been missing for the last few hours. I've tried contacting him and nothing's come up. And the last time I saw him, he ran into a building that 10 minutes later blew up.
Well, that's pretty ominous. What about the crazy girl?
I don't believe that she was there for that. Actually,
She was there for that, she says as she points at the video.
I meant for the drop house incident. I recall 2 other hounds who we went into the sewers with and dealt with some things there. Out of character, storyteller, was that like the one scourge there for that incident?
No, Alexa was not there.
I thought she was in the hotel with us.
She was, but as everyone split up and regrouped, she did not return. She was busy elsewhere.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. I thought he meant the fight, but you're talking about the drop house thing, the explosion and all that.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So right now, the person who normally deals with this, or at least like communicates with the higher up who can deal with this, is not around. And I have no idea how to find him if he's still around. So for right now, we might have to deal with this ourselves.
Do we have the resources and influence to stop this from being broadcast?
I was just about to suggest, Clyde, you were the one who found all of this information. How did you come by it?
I used to be a journalist, but this is way bigger than that. Aside, if they start distributing through the web, it's almost impossible to stop it.
Do you think you can stop them before that happens?
I can probably do something about the main news. If somebody gets me access to the top executive networks or something like that. But
Whispers, you're pretty good at hacking things, right? And like technology in general?
Yeah, I could do that, yeah.
Okay, here's what I propose. Whispers, Clyde, you two seem to have the best combination of skills to deal with this situation. I think you two would be best suited to work together to contain this breach as much as possible.
Okay, I can do that. Clyde, what do you want to do?
Can you get me the can you get me the address of the main So, out of character, it will be the head of news for Chicago for that specific station, I believe. Maybe.
Well,
Does that sound logical?
yep, there's always a chain of command in regards to who gets the stories and how the stories are synced up the internal food chain to see who will bite and whether they can pursue with the story, whether they can proceed with the story. Getting information as to who should be the shot caller on releasing the story, or at least giving the green light for them to pursue verifying the story, is an easy thing to do, especially with someone who has connections within the media itself.
Yeah. If I manage to get into the same office that the director of news, I think I can prevent that. But as I keep telling you, if it makes it to the web, we are cooked.
No, the web doesn't mean anything. There's a giant margin of credibility there. Anybody can upload any bullshit they want. It doesn't make it true.
There are
All the
people
same.
taking from the cartons on the street without cookies, so they believe anything.
They
I mean,
will, and if I just make a Facebook post that says there are vampires, they will believe it, but there's no credibility behind it.
That being said, it's important that it be contained as much as possible, because, sure, you can say anything on the web and it might not be true, but when it starts getting shared enough and spread enough, people start to believe it and accept it as true, regardless of whether or not it is. And in this case, it very much is true, as much as I hate to admit it.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, if our plan hedges on stopping something from going to the internet, we might as well just walk into the sun this morning.
That's why I was saying it sounds like it hasn't hit the web yet, which means if we stop it at the source, we might have a chance to contain it as much as possible. It doesn't have to be necessarily perfect, but it has to be contained to as few sites, and certainly the least credible and least popular sites as possible.
So here's a question nobody's asking. What do these guys want? Because clearly it's not to out us, because they'd have just fucking done that.
Are you referring to the Sabbat in this case, or the Second Inquisition?
I'm referring to whoever it is that's threatening to release this tape. Clearly they want something, or they'd have just released it.
Clyde, any ideas?
Well, I don't know. Probably just fucking with us, or I don't know.
Honestly, it's tactically sound. What I think is going on is they couldn't just put it out. They needed to go through vettable, verifiable news sources that can be believed. Because if you just put something this crazy out on the internet, people are going to guess. People are going to be like, oh, it's some kind of weird movie. They're like shooting something cool. This is like CGI or whatever, and people are going to guess at it. Now, if it's coming through verifiable news sources, how can you question it then? So they need time to vet it. They need time to run the tapes back and make sure it's not faked before they're willing to put their necks out on the line and say that this is the real thing.
So why are they giving us time to stop it?
Because they feel they can't stop it. You might be able to find one or two sources, but the amount of people they probably sent it to, we're not going to catch them all unless we catch them all.
Seems a lot like every other action movie.
That's my point. It's a lot like an action movie. Why set the bomb timer for an hour when you could set it for 3 minutes and still clear the scene? That's what I'm asking here.
Maybe a threat. Maybe to get it. Maybe to set another trap. Maybe they were taking a film off the cameras, but this doesn't look like a speed camera. This looks like something else.
All right. As everyone's racking their minds, the question was asked, and it was a very, very valid question. The video, as according to Whispers, is not something that comes from street cameras, i.e. the little white boxes that line most high crime areas in the city. These aren't city cameras. These aren't street cameras. These aren't too far removed from the action based on zoom, which means these are individually sourced bits of information. If anybody would like, at this point, be a good time to either roll wits and insight, or for those more technologically focused, wits plus streetwise.
Is that anyone can roll that?
Yes. So,
One sec, please.
You said wits and insight.
yep, or wits and streetwise, based on your understanding. Did you roll?
Specialty in detect lights or insight.
Detect what?
Detect lies.
Lies? Oh no, this is 100% true. So there's no fakery with the footage.
And to answer your question, I have both, but my insight pool is slightly better.
Okay. 3. Okay. All of you all are racking your brain, and you watch as a shadow falls over Whisper. It's when everyone's talking, the quiet person is the one that catches the most attention. Not only is he quiet, but he's holding his hands to restrain from reaching out, from contacting or touching anything. You've all seen that look in various stages. You've been the victim of that look in various stages. And while the mystery of this situation, mystery of these clips is pressing, it's up to you what you do in this one situation. You have one action. What is it? Nothing. No one? No one's, okay.
I'm just trying to process everything. I'm going to get behind a table.
Wait,
Just
what?
No, I think I just realized what's about to happen. I'm gonna move, put a table between us. Basically.
Okay.
I am super oblivious.
What was that, Clyde?
I am very oblivious to what's about.
Yeah, I only got a 3, so I'm confused.
as everyone's racking their brain and going over various details from their past and trying to apply their obtained knowledge to the question that was posed, everyone realizes that Whispers gets even quieter than normal. He's holding and squeezing his hands in an effort to not touch anything. There's a slight tremor along his skin, moving from his fingers up his forearms across his shoulders.
Well, I'm going to make sure I'm not the closest one to him is what I'm going to do. So,
Whispers, are you okay?
Alright, so Lucio steps away, putting a table between him and Whispers. Disney steps a hair back, putting distance between her and Whispers. Estia, Clyde, what is your one action?
I don't want to metagame, so I'm very.
Well, everybody else is moving away, so I'm gonna put some space between me and Whispers.
I'm very focused on trying to find that thing. I probably don't notice what's happening.
Alright, so that being the case, initial action is to attempt to feed. Unfortunately, there is no real actual blood in the room, so it is a bowling over, unless of course Whispers, as this begins to dawn on you, a half a second too late for it to take full control, you can spend a willpower to leave the area. However, doing so will cause the beast to take full control in this moment. Or you can try to ride it out. Alright, Whisper, what's your action?
Everybody back up.
So you're spending the willpower to leave.
Yes.
Alright. Keep a mark notation for your willpower, taking that superficial willpower damage, and you fly as quickly as your feet will carry you out away from the coterie. We will return to you in a split second. But as you all watch this happen, there's something about Whispers needing to vacate the premises that reminds you all of a often tossed off aphorism. A scalded dog will howl. What that means, if you poke a person or an animal in just the right place, whether they're right or wrong, they're going to respond. So an information dump like this, which can't be verified but can be proven that the video was not faked, should posit a response. A disproportionate response from people who would go out of their way and kill entire families to maintain their air of secrecy, which would in turn
I think you just cut out. I can't hear anything you're saying right now.
Well, and ended with which would in turn, by taking the drastic normal actions of the Camarilla as a whole, in Chicago specifically, by them taking any drastic action to put a kibosh on the releasing of this information, they would in turn be doing what?
They would kill everybody involved. They would hunt and kill everybody involved. Both
Yes.
kind and kindred.
Yes. And in doing so, they would give it credence. They would prove it to be true. They would out themselves in an effort to make sure that no one ever obtained this information. It's like the NC-17 movies, the R-rated movies, the X-rated movies from times gone by. The adult advisory on certain songs and albums and CDs and releases. By drawing attention to it, you make everyone immediately want to see it. It is the R. Kelly urination tapes. It is the Kim Kardashian lovemaking, Ray J. It is the fact that it would be taboo would make everyone want to see it. Especially the mystery of what happened to the reporters, the mystery of what happened to the people that supposedly were in it. It would create a firestorm across the city, and instead of it just simply being a small, potentially negligible action, it would become a raging inferno, and most assuredly would draw undue attention.
And that's a sure way to get somebody killed. Can we try to not get killed?
I like to not get killed.
It's not like anybody has any friends or potential acquaintances that work for anyone involved on the ground level to find a way in, to try to nip it as quickly as possible. Because Clyde, this is not something that would occur to you, but as everyone else had 3 successes or better, not only would a scalded dog howl, not only would it attract everyone's attention, if the Camarilla was focused on sending their best hitters, their people who are good with putting a kibosh on things and covering up and making sure people and things disappear, it would also let anyone who was watching or anyone who has been planning on this know who was who and what was what is their standard operating procedure, what's their first opening chess move. The people rely on their same moves against a multiplicity of opponents, especially if it has worked thus far. It would be like getting the cheat code for the operating system. And something else occurs to all of you all that had the opportunity to be there in Indianapolis, to exist inside of Alston and Drea and Gas and Zeke. There was a very proud, very vain, glorious moment when you all were informed that within the next 2 years that every city would have its own franchise of the Sabbat. It wasn't said as if you had time to stop it. It was said as if it was a foregone conclusion.
Taking a deep breath that's unneeded and sighing, and it seems like what they're going to do with this is draw out the problem solvers, the people that the tower depends on. And then once they know who to go after, they're going to take them out and weaken the power structure and then move in while there's nobody there to stop them. It
So that-
makes sense that way.
So that answers the what do they want question. Now, do we know who they are?
We have some ideas. Of course, there's the Sabbat angle, and they're pulling the strings of the human government, I think. And then there's also what me and Lucio discovered tonight. The people that are pulling the strings behind the mobsters are the Hecate.
The Hecata.
Hecata?
I think that's, yeah.
That used to be the Cappadocians, and they are a clan of esoteric death dealers that were supposedly extinct, but now we are seeing that they are not.
As it turns out, La Sombra do not have a monopoly on the Abyss.
And speaking of the Abyss, the phantasmal, ephemeral end of all things, where all things go to die, including the dead, you find yourself in front of a bookstore, a non-existent bookstore, Alexander. Crocs and Bertanos have not been around longer than most people presently on Earth have. Anyone under 35 would really know what physical Crocs and Bertanos actually is. It was Borders, before Barnes & Noble, before Powell's. It was a hodgepodge of old and new books, not PDFs, not digital downloads, actual full-blooded, ink on page books that you can find from any genre, from any epoch in time until present. If it was rare, but it had been printed in a multiplicity in large enough quantities to be circulated across more than one city, it would most assuredly have a copy in Crocs and Bertanos. They didn't serve coffee, they didn't serve tea, they served books by the bucketful. And you could sit as if it was a public library and read away your life. You see a Crocs and Bertanos sitting firmly nestled in between two skyscrapers. It is a 3-story building of glass and stone that, upon immediately seeing it, you would not believe that it was a store. Especially as you stand outside and look in, it looks as if there's an actual tree growing inside the place. And no, not some small potted sapling, but an actual tree, a 4-man abreast tree growing in the building.
It's one way to decorate it, I guess.
And for all of its uniqueness, when you really focus in on it, the most glaring issue, the fact that it's well after midnight and it's open. There are people sitting sprawled across the floor, some drinking tea, some drinking what looks like clearly flasks, all of them reading or otherwise engaged in their physical manipulation books. No cell phones, no iPad, no iPods, no tablets of any variety. It looks old.
This will probably give a little bit of a flashback to Halloween.
Yeah. There's that timeless quality, that scent and smell of books handled and jostled and mentally caressed. There's a timelessness to being able to sit still and let your mind do all of the heavy lifting. To be reminded that you've just spent the last hour, 2, 3, lost in places where your physical body never was. Do you walk in? Do you enter? The attendant behind the main desk looks up and smiles, her glasses catching the light. Her yellow and red t-shirt at no point in history ever truly being stylish. Welcome to Crocs. How can we help?
Yeah, do you guys have wait, what's the bookstore called?
Crocs and Britannicals.
Okay, yeah, you just said it. I'm sorry. Do you guys have anything on Mamako ring a bell?
Oh, Mamako? The stepsons? Sure. If you head up those stairs, and she points to the tree.
Stairs. Right.
Oh, around the side. If you go around the side, down the hall a little bit, you'll see the stairs. They lead right upstairs. Of course.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
Of course. And she leans forward, resting her elbows on the desk in front of her. If you assume the position, you must be master of the house. But Mr. Dutemps should be upstairs waiting for anyone who would like to visit. Actually, as you follow her directions, they head around the side from the view from the street, from the view from the main room. There actually are stairs that lead into the tree and up the stairs.
That's really interesting too.
They have somehow managed to keep the tree alive with the stairwell carved into it. And they have somehow managed to not kill enough of the tree so that it stops growing. You can smell the sap and the very interestingly new growth as you see leaves and actual flora and fauna moving in and out of the tree. As you take the stairs up and to the second floor, there actually is a hallway which leads further into the building. The hallway opens into the actual entranceway to a Shinto shrine. There's a tatami across the floor. There is a descent that you must first step down into. And then each room ascends a step or more as you head further in. You've been in such places before, and it's only as you cross the threshold into the space that what she says stands out. When assuming the position, one must become master of the house. There's a statement that Bruce Lee used as a philosophy for if you're going to engage in anything, not just combat. You must be prepared for all that comes your way. It's a semblance that if you're going to do a thing the right way, with the fullness of your being. Don't fight half-assed. Don't invest half-assed. Don't live half-assed. If you think a thing is going to kill you, then it will. If you think that going a mile further will end your being, then go a mile further. There's no point in living if you don't truly live. There's no point in doing a thing if you're not going to commit.
So, before we get killed,
Hello?
So Alex, you continue forward. You've already crossed the threshold for the shrine. There is still technically a way back out of this. You can simply step back. You can simply turn around and leave. Or you can push forward and find out what the stepstones are. Typically, when entering into another martial artist school, as you are, unannounced, uninvited, there's a challenge issued.
Understanding that I'm gonna everything I do is because I have to. I have to find out who ordered the attack. I have to find out who's responsible for putting innocent people in danger. My safety is not my first concern. So
Nice. Excellent. So where challenges are abounding, not only from internal pressures and willing to stand up to what that means to live a life to its fullest, whether in life or undeath, with the pressures of the world bearing down on the coterie in various portions of the city, we will take a quick pause. We'll take a quick 10 minutes. It's 57 after the hour. We'll see you guys back here at 7 after the hour, and we will pick up right here and push towards the end of our epilogue. See you all very shortly. Everyone back?
I'm here.
I'm here.
yep.
Here.
All right, so picking up where we last left, with as much as Alexander does not want to embrace the true, what he views as bloodthirsty nature of the decided tactics of the children of Hakim, there's something very ennobling about the willingness to potentially sacrifice oneself for the greater good or for the cause. And this is what washes over him. It's not quite euphoric, but it definitely does bolster that sense of self-worth. You are not just yourself. You are the impact you leave on the world around you. The good that you do can and does affect the lives of the many. There is an undeniable, unshakable realization of that fact. The very real consequences of the children of Hakim's action through the years, through the centuries, has led to enlightenment in certain areas, freedom in others, and in some, just the example that there is something better to hope for, to pray on, to count on. That if a few brave men and women are willing to give their all towards a cause, even in death, there is some level of success. And so, as you stand in the second of what you can see, 4 rooms, 4 entranceways, 4 doors into the dojo, into the temple that serves as a dojo. A gentleman of no small presence moves towards you from the furthest and meets you halfway. Arms folded behind his back and a decided French move to his voice. You are not one of our regulars. You've come without an invitation. Is there something I can help you with?
Malako means something to you, I would say.
Yes, that's the name of my organization. The Stepsons. Those who stand by and wait. Those who serve. You are not one of us, nor are you a child of Takanishi. That much is clear. Otherwise, you would have attempted to cause some damage in reaching this point. I don't detect any power from you. So you're also not an Akashic. Why are you here?
I need to know about Camille.
He's dead.
But the Akashic still live.
In one form or another, yes.
Cause issues with people who don't deserve it.
Everyone deserves what they get.
I would like to put whatever the Akashic is doing here, at least redirect it.
Your bravery is admirable. Though your attempt to pursue this path is a foolish one. If you want to reach the Akashic, speak with the Concilium. Don't come back here. Otherwise, we will take this as a challenge. The Concilium is your target for information. Maybe the wool workers will have their way with you and turn you into some lawn chair. It's a far kinder thing than what we'll do to you.
I'm sorry, you're kind of cutting out a little bit.
The Concilium are the masters of the wool workers. They may turn you to a lawn chair of some use, which would be a far kinder thing than what we'll do to you. Don't come back here.
So you really can't tell me anything about the operations of the Akashic?
Yes, there are brotherhood monks that choose enlightenment. They're subjects to the Concilium. Your death, same as Kumail's. Abu Kumail was a member of the Akashics. He was a leader of a small band of them. He decided to change how they conduct themselves. The Concilium had him killed. The cost to them was the loss of the Akashics of the Chicagoland area. for quite a few years. These wool workers believe that only their way is the way to true enlightenment, to awaken the sleepers of the world.
Wait. So when you say will workers, you mean magical will workers?
Are there any others?
So these thugs, these terrorists, have a magical background.
They believe they do.
I appreciate your time and information that you've given. You said that I could find a conciliar in Belgium?
The Concilium? No.
Conciliar.
The Concilium has their offices, a multiplicity of what places. If you go knocking on their door or ringing their doorbell, I'm sure that they will not allow you to play Ding Dong Ditch.
One more thing before I go. Do you know why two Apashis ready to attack within this company?
What do you know about gang warfare?
I know that the war only works if both sides are fighting.
Yes, and it's the battles that we choose not to fight that determine our fate. So there's always a battle, there's always contention, even here and now between you and I. I presented you with more than you asked for, and yet you asked for more. You believe that I have not shown you a proper deference or haven't properly highlighted the path for you. But the world is your path. Your choices determine the outcome. Contention, much like chaos, can be a ladder. But if you go looking for the Concilium, make sure you squared away all of your personal matters. They're not as kind. Far more humane, just far less kind. People of ideals often are zealots, true believers. But in the end, there's no belief, there's no right way.
I see. If the Concilium is so powerful, why do they need the Akasha to be their messenger?
If you're killed by a king, couldn't your children say at least he was killed by the king? But if you're assassinated, the only thing your children, those who follow you, can say is that the dark swallowed you whole. You weren't even worth their time. scope and scale. But for decorum's sake, so that I don't actually have to engage you in combat, I bid you adieu. Leaving, feeling the pull of the clock racing against you, time fleeting away, realizing that this is not a quest to be accomplished in one evening, with the name of a organization that has far more reach than grasp. Where would Alexander choose to alight? Where would he choose to head? Because while one man can make a difference, the power of many exceeds that exponentially.
I think if the dragon on the sleigh is magical in nature, there's a reach out to people who know who with the idea and have resources that can tap into their knowledge. So I'm going to send a text to Hestia and Lucio asking where they are and telling them where they need to be.
So as you all receive those texts, Hestia, Lucio, your responses?
I texted back that we're at the Haven working on important matters.
I also send a similar text. Haven, major issues.
And while those major issues are foremost on your mind, and you guys notify him that you are at the Haven, Whispers, you, having spent and pushed yourself, you don't like human blood, partially because the sight of you usually makes most people sick. It makes most people ill, makes most people doubt their faculties. There's no way that whatever disease took hold on you is not contagious. There is a very selfish vanity that makes people recoil. And knowing that you are a monster, knowing that you are no longer living, knowing that you are deceased does not stop that from being many slings and arrows that you suffer. So you're taken to feeding from rats, from animals, from those things that respond more to your aura. And if you push just enough kindness, they're able to look past your physical. They're able to feel the very scary predator that you are. But animals have a different understanding of predators. Predatory. Lions only work when they're hungry. And while there is cruelty in the animal kingdom, it is never with malice. It is never, I'm going to hurt this thing because I enjoy it, typically. However, years and years of feeding from the less than rich blood of animals has put you in a very unenviable position tonight. The beast has reared its head and decided that tonight you will revel in the monstrousness that is you. The pressures of dealing with some high-flying Icaruses that the shelter is has shook you to your very core, letting that monster slip its bonds and escape with you into the night. You'd much rather feed on animal, but the beast would much rather have real blood, the whole stuff, the good stuff, the uncut. You sometimes erode your resolve and composure. In doing so, if you have 3 successes, you will be able to quiet the beast back within your control. You are able to leash it and muzzle it enough. Short of that, at 2 successes, you would be able to feed without killing. At 1 success, you will only kill 1 person. At no successes, 1 will not do. It's like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. Looks like meat's back on the menu tonight. Your vegetarian lifestyle for the last few years comes to an end. You and this gentleman have had a very long conversation, with him being on the losing end of it. And by losing, he has had the most ecstatic moment of his short 56 years. And he's staring into the sky, seeing the stars twinkle like they never have in all of his lifetime here in Chicago. You're on the 3rd floor back porch of some tenement, roughly 3 blocks from the shelter's haven. The gentleman has smoked and drunk and has managed to enjoy his evening, capping it off with coming very, very close to seeing God. And he looks at you and chuckles in that way that reminds you of some 49er, some gold prospector. You know, it's something you never really notice. And his voice trails off as he begins telling you another very long story. And in the fact that he doesn't care what you look like, some part of you, some cold part of you, warms a little.
Feel bad, lady. But at least some blood.
What was that? That was a little raspy.
I'll feel bad about that later. But I got human blood.
Yes. You'll feel bad about having the fine dining moment that there will be moments before this, there'll be moments after this. But this was a breaking of the fast. This was a calming of the beast that happened far quicker than you having to invest an entire swarm of its alphas. This will be something you may mourn later, but part of you knows that the very guilty part of you knows that this was as close to being whole as you have been in the entirety of the last few years. And while Whisper makes his way back to the haven, because, well, his haven is miles upon miles from here, and that's not a travel that any kindred at this hour of the evening would prefer to make. As you're making your way back to the haven, you and Alexander get there roughly at the exact same time. Alex pulling into his parking spot, covering his car with its car cover so that it's not rained on or dusted on or otherwise damaged by light or people. Plus, it keeps it out of sight and out of mind. Most people forget that it's even there. His face, his jaw, his very aura says that he is on a mission. There's something pressing on his mind, something pressing on his heart. Much like you having divested the old timer of a few drops of his life.
Okay, Alex. Kinda, yeah.
The others still inside as far as you know?
Yeah, and it's not pretty.
What happened?
The masquerade got breached really, really bad.
Who's this time? Does anyone see turn into a giant bat and no one see, or what? Somebody with the
Well, yeah, there's a video. Sabbath, Lucio, powers everywhere, fire, gunshots. It was that bad.
That sounds pretty. How widespread is the video?
That's what we're trying to find out. So far, it hasn't popped up on the internet, but we gotta be real careful.
Careful of what?
So far, this hasn't been everywhere, but if we're not careful and don't stop it really quickly, it's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna go viral.
It's not good.
It's more like the Second Inquisition.
And as you mentioned turning the internet off, you, Whispers, have arrived where Clyde, Dizzy, Lucio, and Hestia are.
Welcome back.
I heard there was a trouble with the masquerade.
Yeah.
I'm here to help out in any way I can, because I haven't quicker I can get. I can help you guys with this. So the quicker I can ask you for help. So, real quick, a question about you or Hestia, or anything immortal and magic. Not necessarily more than, but will work with us.
I look to Hestia.
She smiles kind of softly. Well, I don't know everything, but I never did tell you all how I came to be. And that ties into it. Let's just say there was a tug of war over me who would get me, whether it would be the kindred or the mortal will workers. Because apparently I was supposed to have some sort of magic that they both wanted. Obviously the kindred won out. But I had been looking into potentially accessing the magic I was supposedly born with for use, so I could probably help you with your questions.
Magicians and James's findings. Do they just want cunning? Do they want smart them? Years of wisdom? Is there weaknesses that they need?
I believe it was the way they approached me. My sire got to know me under the guise of something else. I didn't realize who she was until things happened. But yeah, she kind of coaxed me away.
Do you think that your previous friends in black robes have been transferring you know more about my workers, or are they just in the dark as me and Lucia, if not just the way it is?
Oh, pretty sure they would know their enemy, as you could say, and we could maybe figure out how best to work around them. Why? Is there, you have a problem with human magic users?
It's very possible that recent religious organizations, specifically Phoenix Temple, I have a friend that are being attacked by, let's say, enhanced or enlightened, quote unquote, thugs and terrorists that are under direct command of a coalition of will workers.
That sounds strange.
I know.
I'm not doubting you, obviously. I understand where you're getting at. But typically, from what I know, that wouldn't be something they would wish to do because of the backlash potentially. But maybe if they know something or they've found a workaround, then maybe.
Sorry, I lied down. I missed everything after
Typically, there would be too much potential backlash karmically to do something like that, but if they found some sort of loophole or higher purpose, then potentially would be a reason for them to be doing so.
They believe it's a path to enlightenment in some way, shape, or form. They are convinced their more mundane followers, they will reach enlightenment through their instruction.
You know, that smells familiar.
Maybe their loophole is that they're using more mundane sleepers, if you will, to perpetrate the acts of violence.
Maybe their loophole is your
Could
friends
be.
aren't as
I mean,
innocent
if
as
they're not
they say.
directly doing it themselves.
I think I heard something about that. Maybe let me think. Yeah, let me make a quick phone. So,
Well, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
with my dual code, I have an inkling of what they are talking about.
Yes. Knowing what they're talking about is very easy. They're talking about real life, actual mages or people who believe they are, who are supposedly attacking a temple, a religious organization that happens to be friends with Alexander. They're talking about real witches, warlocks, mages, that sort of thing, the whole Harry Potter franchise. Well, that is very, very real in terms of what you've done exposés on.
I may have a lead for that. You are interested, but probably will come at a cost. But, I mean, everything is, but you want me to give it a try? Asking to Alex.
Sorry, what was that?
I think I have a lead for that, but it may come at a cost. So, you want me to try to figure it out?
You have a lead on the Akashic and the Concealment?
No idea of what those are, but when people are crazy, they start talking about a bunch of things that seem incredible, and I think I heard something about that.
Which is
I mean, major, not whatever you are thinking,
yeah,
like
if you
major first.
I mean, that would make sense. If you, before I met Castillo recently, people could turn me into a chore. And if I rubbed them the wrong way, I really thought you were crazy.
Okay, let me see if maybe sorry, out of character, what's my primage and everything? Maybe my primage and yeah, let me give you a call. Yeah. Can I give him a call?
Yeah, of course.
So I could kind of go to a corner of the room so as to try to hear better.
Luckily, you aren't in the morgue, so your signal strength is phenomenal. And you doubting his answering service actually doesn't go to the switchboard. He actually answers. Clyde, my good man.
Hey, doctor, how have you been?
Well, life is a struggle, and it is not in seeking victory where that struggle provides us with the victories we seek. It is in recognizing and understanding our failings and our shortcomings. So, what have you failed at?
Well, I've been hearing a couple of people talk about very weird things, and I think I've heard something similar coming from some of the people at the sessions. maybe you can give me a hint. They are talking about like actual real mages, magical.
Yes, everyone wishes that they were special and had the ability to change the world around them. It's a common psychosis.
Yeah. Do you know someone that has been talking about weird things occurring like magically?
Of course. Again, it's a common psychosis, just like the Jesus Christ fantasy, just like the Helen of Troy, or the Joan of Arc, or hearing the dog give you orders to kill people, or imagining that you are a man born out of time, or that you slept for 4 years, or yes, it's a very common psychosis. In fact, there's a meeting for such people. Perhaps you'd like to sit in and take notes?
Well, maybe if you'd be so kind.
We can arrange such things. Let's set a time for a session for you and I to make sure that this is not something that you're suffering from. And then we wouldn't want to further a descent away from the path, because after all, the point of us for life is to get through it. In our case, if getting through it means that we'll be here for a very long time. We don't want to stray too far from our goals in life. Our path is ahead of us. So I'm thinking, what say you Friday, roughly 11 p.m.?
Okay.
Or would an earlier appointment work better for you?
Well, if I'm around by Friday, I'll be sure to be there.
You will if you believe that you will. Thoughts become fact. And I'm sure that you're aware that our previous location has had issues with asbestos. So they're cleaning and attending to remediation of the facility. We will be meeting in our downtown office going forward.
Okay. Yeah. I think I know where it is.
Oh, most assuredly, you definitely know where it is. While I do love the architecture and the history of our previous location, unfortunately, what is best for us would be to continue in our more modern offices. I am going to miss the architecture. I'm going to miss all of that lovely ground acreage. However, I believe the downtown location should probably work better as it's centrally located. We are able to be in the midst of the city without being part of it. We're able to take in and take stock. Speaking of taking stock, my suggestion is to invest. And specifically, medical.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a broker, but I'm broke, so maybe that can do it.
Well, you know that Nikkei is currently still open. You can actually get in now. My suggestion is there are several apps that you can find on what the modern kids call a laptop. So you take your desktop monitor and put it into your lap as you type, and it is the most amazing of things. However, I do have other appointments. I was waiting for a call. I do need to free up the line. So I will see you Friday at 11 p.m. and we'll go over these things and make sure that we are in the safest places possible. Now, Clyde?
Yeah, I think I can make it. Yeah, definitely make it.
Excellent. That is a great idea. I look forward to having you.
You broke a little bit at the end.
No, he stopped talking. He says, I look forward to having you.
Okay. So I turn to Alexander and tell him, well, I need to go to a meeting next Friday, but after that, probably, I think I can get some information.
Hey, not for nothing, but didn't we establish like a special room for those sort of phone calls?
Did we?
I don't think he was here for that.
I mean, that's fair. I'm just saying.
Okay, duly noted. Where is it next time?
I don't know. I just know we were establishing one.
Over. It's built. And I'll show you later.
Okay.
All right, so that portion of the plans are set. There's still a few things that you guys should probably iron out, but in light of just how very much is coming down the pipe, just how many potentialities could fall by the wayside and how many lives could be lost in the balance one way or the other, what is it that you all are seeking to hammer down for the sun?
There's one thing I'd like to kind of get off my chest now that I've kind of thought it through. So, up until now, we've been assuming that the Sabbat and the Puttanesca, which we now know are actually the Hecata, have been working together. If that were really the case, though, we're talking about two international, super well-connected and with a lot of resources organizations working against us together, and somehow this place is still standing in our ownership. I actually think that maybe we were wrong about assuming that the two were working together. They both probably still want the Haven, but they want the Haven for themselves. They're not working together to get it. They're working essentially against each other, and that might be why this place is still standing. With that in mind, there is always the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. If we could turn one against the other, or if we, as we had previously planned, take out Don Castiglione and have Ignacio take over, he might be able to help us with some of the other issues that we've been experiencing, especially with regards to the Sabbat and their control over the government.
Actually, that's what I was thinking. We should turn them against each other. They get to fighting amongst each other. It's two big guns aimed at each other, and we get left alone. As far as getting Ignacio to run things, I really hate to say it, and I feel bad a little bit that I did this. In returning him to the villa, I think I sent him to his death. There's a very high chance he was killed.
Yeah, that might be the case, but knowing what I know about, well, admittedly what little I know about the Hecata, being the clan of death, and especially, you know, us being vampires and all, death might not necessarily be the end. And even though we did see Don essentially eviscerate his own wife on camera, he did mention that she's fine. It's possible that either they've been ghouled or embraced. I mean, we've seen ghouls heal from some pretty grievous wounds.
Yeah, didn't Arsenio and Ignacio both hint that he was messing with her head a lot?
Yes.
So that's a chance, yes, but we shouldn't count on that.
Agreed.
What we should definitely get done for this evening before the sun comes up is get a list of people that those videos might have been sent to so that we know where to start as far as cutting that off.
And I think I should... Oh, sorry.
Why is the head?
Well, from what I've read, they are called the Clan of Death because they have powers over death itself. In a way, they're actually very similar to my own clan, the La Sombra, in that they have power over the Abyss, but theirs manifests a little differently, whereas we prefer to use the darkness, the substance of the Abyss itself. They tend to use it more... Essentially, they use the residents of the Abyss.
Yes, you came to the dark as an adult. I was born to it.
So wait, now you guys are telling me that there's definitely an afterlife, and there are vampires who tap into it.
Oh, there's definitely an afterlife. Wait, you weren't here for the... Were you here for the memoriam we did? Where we, like, kind of all, like, you know, went to other people's bodies, saw the afterlife by accident, and then came back and died? Oh, that part, you weren't there for that.
You guys are crazy. I hate all of you.
We have some things you gotta catch up on.
Stupid fucking magic and ghosts and...
If I could interject for a moment or two. I know that I'm new here. I've only been here a couple days, and nobody gives a shit what I think. But is this how you always handle things? Like in the last hour, your focus has shifted 4 times from problem to problem. And since I've been with you, you jump from problem to problem, and you don't solve anything in a way that doesn't cause 5 more problems. Have you ever thought maybe just focusing on one thing until it's solved and then going to the next thing? Or, I don't know, maybe having a plan or something?
Yeah,
and I say all this with the utmost respect, because maybe this works for you. I don't know how it works for you. I haven't seen it work for you, but maybe, I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get completely what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. It's just that it's been one thing after another. We've literally had all of these problems thrown at us within the last 2 weeks.
Well, I get that, but you prioritize. This Buddhist thing, that'll wait. The masquerade breach is important.
That's what I was thinking too. The masquerade breach, and then I help you guys get done with that as fast as possible, so I can find out why magicians are attacking the Buddhist.
I agree. We should definitely deal with the masquerade breach first, and I have an idea of potentially killing 2 birds, possibly more, with 1 stone. Hessie and I had previously discussed making or repairing our relationship with a certain kindred known as Waneka. They, as far as I know, have some connections around the city that might be useful both for cleaning up this masquerade breach and also possibly some of our other future plans.
Now,
So if
you tell me that he is a ghost and a wizard, I'm gonna punch you.
as far as I know, he's a Nos.
Ghost Wizard is actually his DJ name.
He's just, a vampire, which is already crazy enough for me. It's only been a couple of decades in here.
Right, so I think maybe I could help get us some allies to deal with our problems. And we should definitely focus on patching this breach first. I agree with what you said, Dizzy.
I bet the girl in the trunk has it.
The whole investigation into the Akashi.
I bet the
Which is
girl.
more of a long-term problem.
I bet the girl in the trunk has a whole shitload of answers.
Yes, and I mean, you were there for that one, definitely. That was Laura that we're talking about. I do know where she is now, so we could beat it out of her if we want to.
Finally, something I can do.
Beating people doesn't get reliable information. Everyone knows that.
I mean, she's Sabat, so you expect we should just let her go and she should just live a happy life and then she'll give us the answers?
I mean, you stopped me from shooting her in the face, dude.
How are we going to interrogate a Sabat? Isn't interrogation one of their favorite things to do?
It's well, Damien was supposed to help with that, but Damien's been off the radar for the last few hours.
I might
Surely,
be able to figure something out.
surely one of you can read minds, right?
Unfortunately, I do the opposite of that. I make people forget.
Does she know that?
I don't know.
See, the unknown is a powerful force.
I have an idea.
We hit her in the head with a rock.
Who said that?
As method to obtain information without an individual having to be necessarily hint. It requires a little bit of blood magic stuff. It's one of the only things I know about magic-wise outside of any of this mess. And it also needs narcotics. Do any of you know where to get narcotics?
If I
They
did my
have
mouth to be
here
done.
a whole bunch of flowers.
Sometimes all you need is a really good poker face, you know.
What kind of narcotics?
Like, something that could synthesize a truth serum if you mix it with vampire blood.
Oh man,
Because
no, I
a
was
truth
thinking
serum
about
wouldn't work
Vito.
on a vampire directly, but if you mix it with Vito and tampered it through magic, you could use it as a truth serum.
Can you do that?
I could try to learn how, but I would need blood from someone who knows blood magic.
Could you learn that by tomorrow? Because I'm not knocking the idea, but this is a time-sensitive issue.
I immediately look at Hestia.
I can try, but I would need that thing.
Hestia is looking around the room, trying desperately not to laugh because of this whole situation and the very clear point that Dizzy made. It's just been one. I don't know. Like, have you ever, out of character, have you ever been in a place you're not supposed to laugh, like a funeral or a church, and just something hits you funny and you just can't help yourself? That's where she is mentally right now. She's not supposed to be laughing, but she is.
I mean, to put this in scope, it's been about 5 days since you rescued Dizzy in game time, too.
Finally pulling herself together. She kind of looks. I know what you're talking about. I could probably make that happen. I do have some plants in my greenhouse that have a narcotic effect. So, while that's all well and good, like I said, I definitely think we should find out who was sent these videos and take care of that first. Maybe somehow get the videos from them, or glamour who we have to, outright steal them, corrupt the files, make their freaking internet crash, whatever we have to do.
Get up on that tape.
So, this is my idea. Get the editor or the director of the news, and I can make him pull the story, no problem. But the real challenge will be tracking who received the copies of the tape on the web outlets. So, I think Mr. Whisper here can help me track the recipients of the digital files.
Wait a second. Arsenio, get back in here. We might need you.
You know, I was hoping we'd be halfway to Iowa somewhere by now.
I can make that happen.
That temptation is strong, but what Clyde just said, I know for a fact that you are really good with computers. You managed to get this recording earlier of the Dawn somehow. Do you think you'd be able to do what he just asked about tracking where all these videos came from and being able to get rid of them?
I don't want to blow my own horn, but no. But I know someone who might. Of course, I wouldn't trust him, especially for something like this. This is big. I'm still trying to figure out whether what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is actually real. This guy, that'd be asking a bit much, especially if you want to get blackmailed.
What are your thoughts, Clyde? And anyone else?
I mean, right. At this point, we can do the legwork, and that will help. The digital print, it's way faster than us. So anyone that can help us track. I have a couple of leads, but not much than that. Out of character, the reporter mentioned as one specific outlet, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He did. He mentioned that there was a paper that actually releases still relies on physical actual copies, and they received a larger clip, well, a larger collection of clips.
Yeah. I mean, we got hurt by the newspaper and the TV station, and then walk away from there. Maybe somebody has contacted them. Maybe they know. Well, the sure thing is we can stop the physical media. The electronic media, well, that's a different matter.
Yeah, you're not going to remove anything from the internet. It's impossible.
Yeah, but to my knowledge, they still haven't uploaded, so we may
There way
still
we could
have.
make a file undesirable though, like attaching a virus to it, make it anti-memetic in some way. Like if
All you need to do is-
download it on your computer, it fucks up your computer.
You just need to convince people that it fucks up their computer. You don't even need to actually do that. Sometimes the
That's
best
where
way to
whispers
combat
comes
information is with other information.
Tell everybody that
Exactly.
if you see this video, it will fuck up your computer. Post fake pictures of your computer getting fucked up by downloading the file, and nobody's going to want to download it. Nobody wants to get their computer.
You know what's a great urban myth these days on the internet? Ransomware.
I can do that. I can make that happen.
That could buy us some time, at least.
All right, so plan set, thoughts and motions. The coterie has their work cut out for them, and it is literally bringing the mountain to Muhammad. But if anyone can do it, I believe that the coterie can. They had to believe that they can as well. With all the resources, contacts, and allies, some enemies, there's a very strong chance that they will not only succeed, but outdo their own expectations, either in success or failure, or some state in between. But with that, I want to thank you all very much for this week's session, for wrapping up season 4 by setting season 5 into motion and outlining carefully and directly what and how they will vanquish all of their enemies in one shape, fashion, form, or another. So, thank you all. Good night, and we will see each other back here for the start of season 5, 2 weeks from tonight.
All right.
All right, folks. Thanks so much. I'll get last week's episode up by Sunday, and then this week's episode up by the following Sunday. So see you all then. And again, very, very much thank you all. You have made my Wednesday nights far more enjoyable and given me far more than food for thought. Thanks so much, guys. Good night.
Thanks.